Guess who's back? It's Jess. So what we got, for those of you guys that have watched New Girl, if you haven't watched New Girl, I highly encourage you to do so. It's a great way to spend the last few weeks of your quarantine. So what we've got today, guys, so for Wednesday, your first part of your warm-up, you're gonna do 90 seconds of alternating elbow to instep per side. So again, just a nice long step, drop that elbow down, add a little twist if you like, and then switch over to the other side. And we're gonna hit the same thing, drop it down, add a twist. 90 seconds worth. Just open up the hips, do whatever feels good, fast, slow, it's up to you guys. After that, we're gonna do 10 slow Cossack squats on either side. So that's gonna be a nice wide stance. And then what I'm gonna encourage you to do is sit down and feel free to use an object for balance and just kind of take a couple seconds. Let that heel come up a little, stretch out the calf, sit back into the ankle, stretch out the groin, hamstring, just nice and slow. Just kind of use it as an opportunity to really open up your hips in kind of every way. So stretching out that lower body really well. After that, you're gonna do 30 seconds worth of side plank rotations on each side. So we're gonna go down to the elbow. We're gonna find ourselves a good side plank position. I'm gonna start hand up. I'm gonna come down to the ground, rotate through, come back up, and I'm just gonna go through that motion nice and slowly for 30 seconds on one side before switching sides and doing 30 seconds on the other side. After that, we're gonna hit 10 slow, narrow stance squats. So we've got some pistols coming up today, and we wanna start to really warm up the ankles and the hips. So for the narrow stance, you can just do slightly narrower here, or if possible, feet touching. But what we're looking for is a slow tempo. So again, I'm gonna take, maybe 1, 2, 3 seconds on the way down, press the knees out, and then try and stand up nice and slow as well. Again, just really kind of gently opening up the hips and the legs. Then I'm gonna hit 10 up dog, down dogs. And for those, the focus is gonna be on the hamstrings and the calves. So here, again, I'm just gonna press my head through, pedal out those calves a little bit, and then I'm gonna drop out. I'm gonna drop my hips to the ground and just take a couple seconds here to relax and let my spine kind of open up and stretch the hips out for the day. You're just gonna alternate back and forth in those two positions for 10 reps. And then the last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna hit 10 reverse lunges per side, focusing on loading the front leg and relaxing the back leg. So what I mean by that is, if possible, I'm gonna reach back, allow the top of my foot to touch so that it's nice and gentle and all my weight is here. And then I'm gonna try and really not use that back leg at all as I go to stand up. 10 per side, again, focusing on engagement of the front leg and just kind of relaxing that back leg. Now, after that, our strength work for the day. You're going to do 3 sets. We're gonna do 10 single arm towel rows. So you're gonna wrap a towel through the handle of your kettlebell or your dumbbell, and you're gonna perform a bent over row for 10 reps on either side. Again, the point of the towel is to, 1, engage more of the forearm, but also allow for a little bit weirder pulling position. So think about things like it's gonna help your rope climb, it's gonna help those kind of odd movements that we do, rather than the things that are a little bit more, kind of compound. So things like a pull-up, stuff like that. So after your 10 single arm rows, we're gonna do 10 pistols. So pistols being single leg squats. Again, this is your strength for the day. So if you can load up a pistol and you're confident, grab a dumbbell, grab a kettlebell, toss a backpack and hug it, something like that. Feel free to add weight to the pistol if you can. If 10 body weight reps is challenging enough for you, then again, totally fine. But it's gonna be 10 per side, so 10 on each leg. A couple options we have. So number 1, if you have the balance to do a pistol, but you don't necessarily have the strength to get through that full range of motion yet, we can reduce the range of motion a little bit. So for me, this bench puts me at just about parallel. So I could, first scaling option is I could do sits to an object. So I could, again, elevate this foot. I could sit back, touch, and drive back up. So it's shortening that range of motion a little bit for me versus doing a full pistol where I really drop that hip crease below parallel. So that's your first scaling option, is to, again, sit to an elevated surface. What I would encourage you though is make sure that you still feel like you're squatting. So what I mean by that is, don't shorten the range of motion so much that it doesn't really feel like you're getting through a full range of motion. So I would say if you sit down and it kind of looks, it feels like this, you're not getting enough depth out of it to really make it worth your while as a squatting exercise. So if you can't sit to just above parallel, I would encourage you to sit to an object that is at or below parallel and use a little assistance. So again, for me, I could just grab onto this pole here and I could use it to help with balance, and I could sit down, and if needed, I could use it for a little bit of assistance on the way up. But just make sure that you're being very measured about how much assistance you're using so that each rep feels roughly the same as the last one. So those are your two scaling options. Your last scaling option, and this would actually be, I probably should have mentioned this first, is if you're strong enough and you have enough balance to do a pistol, but you're just not quite there yet as far as flexibility and range of motion goes, you can elevate the heel. So this is going to be a severe example. You probably wouldn't need to elevate your heel this much, but what this is going to do is remove a lot of the flexibility requirements. It's like putting on a weightlifting shoe, or in this case, a high heel. But I can sit down, and you notice the amount of range of motion I get and my chest being perfectly upright. That could be a good way to scale if the limitation is more mobility than it is strength or balance. So a couple options there for your pistols for the day. Next up, your conditioning. So today we have a little bit of a longer conditioning, and this workout is intended to be done with just a backpack. The reason being is so that you can go find yourself a hill and make this workout super duper uncomfortable. So again, I would highly recommend take a backpack. Let's say the RX for this workout will probably be around maybe 30 pounds for the guys, 30 or 40 pounds. And then for the ladies, maybe being around somewhere in the 15 to 20 pound range. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna do 5 rounds. You're gonna run 400 meters with the backpack on. You're then gonna do 20 squats with the pack on. And then you're going to take the pack off and you're going to do 20 rows with the pack. So 20 bent over rows. So a couple things that we want to try and keep in mind here. Again, run on a hill, because rucking, so with a backpack on and running up an incline of any kind, is going to turn the stimulus from much more of a normal run to a very quad intensive slog. So it's going to feel very different than a running workout, and that's kind of what we're going for here. So some recommendations personally, you could start on the hill from the base of Buttermilk Falls. So if you go to Buttermilk State Park and you park down down at the lower part, just off of 13 there, if you take not the rim or the gorge trail, if you take the rim trail, that immediately starts off with a brutal hill. So you could run 400 meters up that and then 400 meters down it on your next round, and you can alternate rounds like that. Or another great one, what's the preserve? Oh man. If you're going out of town 13, you bear left, and so instead of going out towards Elmira, Thayer Preserve is it? Instead of going right on 13 towards Elmira, you go left on 90 whatever that is out there. And then you can basically, the parking lot is just off that road there. You take a little U-turn and there's a parking lot there. If you walk in maybe 5 minutes, there's a really brutal hill there that I've run.
I think that's before even the Elmira turn.
I think it's just after this. You have to take the split and the U-turn's right there, I think. Okay. But anyway, someone's gonna know the name of this. I'm blanking out completely right now. Thayer Preserve. Anyway, Lickbrook. Aha, Lickbrook. There we go. Found it. Lickbrook Nature Preserve. There's a parking lot just off of 13, again, just out past town that way. So those are 2 great options to find a hill, get outside, use your fitness, and just kind of, again, enjoy the beautiful area that we live in. So again, run on hopefully a hilly or kind of rugged terrain to make it a little bit more challenging, a little more difficult. Then 20 squats with the bag, so you'll keep your backpack on. You're going to go through, again, beautiful full range of motion squats. So feet are just outside, the hips, toes are turned out a little bit, knees are going to press out so that when I sit down, I really start to engage my butt. And then I'm just going to keep my chest nice and tall, belly nice and tight until that hip crease drops below parallel, and then squeeze the butt on the way up, fully extend the hip. So you're going to do your 20 squats, and then you'll slip the bag off, and you'll just grab either side of the bag, and we're just going to row it for 20 reps. So that's your workout for the day. And again, I encourage you, get outside, enjoy this beautiful place we live. The accessory afterwards can also be done out in nature with your bag. So 3 rounds, you're gonna do 20 curls. Feel free to just grab your backpack, grab on either side of it, and curl, 20 reps. Then for the leg extensions, all you need is anywhere to sit. So find a tree stump, find a bench, anything. You can place the backpack on your toes, pull your toes up a little bit. So basically, if we pretend this is my backpack, I can lay it right here, and then I can keep my hand on the strap a little bit to help keep it balanced. And from there, I'm just gonna go leg extensions. So fully extending the quads. Ideally, I would be seated a little bit higher than this so that it would be a little bit less awkward. But again, that's perfect world. So 3 rounds of 20 and 20. After that, all I have left is a little bit of mobility. And again, feel free to hang out in the woods and get your stretching on. But we're gonna do a seated double pigeon. So for that, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put one foot nice and close here. Other foot can go out in front. So I can do a seated cross shin right here, and then I can lean forward, and I'm gonna intensify this glute stretch in the leg that's in front. My other option would be taking this foot up on top and then leaning forward this way. Again, severe external rotation stretch for the hip that is on top or in front, 90 seconds per side. After that, last thing we have is a 2-minute saddle pose. So for the saddle pose, again, we're gonna go sit down on the shoelaces, feet about hip width, and then I'm just gonna start to lean back a little bit and get a nice intense stretch for my spine, for my hips, and for my quads, and for my knees, and for my ankles. So super intense across the board. That's your training for Wednesday. Enjoy, and again, get outside, tag us, palace.ithaca/Zeus. We will see you guys back tomorrow.